is facial recognition and how most importantly how people are trying to trick it to gain access to people's assets or to commit fraud. In the past year, thousands of people in the U.S. have tried to trick facial identification verification to fraudulently claim unemployment benefits from the state workforce agencies, according to identity verification firm ID.me. Between June 2020 and January 21, they caught 80,000 attempts to fool selfie government ID matchups, and this is to get like benefits for unemployment, right? Using other people's faces or masks or images to try to spoof the system and put in fake claims so they can receive money.
Wow.
Um, and yeah, so it's pretty nuts. But
I did not
and
see that coming.
yeah. So and right now so facial recognition is technology across so many different platforms used for everything from passports to IDs, making payments. Uber uses it to authenticate that the person who actually is driving on the account is who they say they are to stop people from trying to share accounts. People use it. Governments use it to authenticate tax returns and that you are who you say you are when you submit documents or receive documentation. And all of this is linked to apparently a fast growing crime known as synthetic identity fraud, where you're not actually taking that person's identity per se, you're collecting a bunch of real and fake information to create a new identity that allows you to spoof the authentication systems and actually gain access to assets and things that you would normally have if someone was taking your identity. And this allows access to digital wallets on phones. It gives you access to high security areas. So places where instead of having human guards, right, you have a computer system whose job it is to scan your face and say yes or no. You know, you're valid here, you're invalid to enter this place. If you can spoof that system, you can gain access through one of those systems into a place that's supposed to be secure, right? In the UK, people are wearing asymmetrical makeup to fool the cameras in urban areas, so they can't track their faces because they can't see past all the makeup. And in China, two people apparently stole over $77 million by creating a shell company to sell leather bags and sending out official-looking invoices that were fake, and they fooled the government's tax office facial recognition software used to authenticate tax returns. So they were actually they stole a ton of money. They've been tried. I think they were caught and they're being tried for this, but they were able to successfully do it, which is very interesting.
Fair
And
game, fair game.
right, and actually one of the most common methods for doing this isn't even that advanced. You can cut out the face of the person and cut out the eye holes and wear it as a mask. It'll read the picture of the face as the person, but it will track, because usually a lot of these things use your eyeballs movements and blinking to track if there's actually a real person. So you could, if you do it, you can actually simulate that you're a real person with this face. And some people even bent the pictures to add depth to the face to work a little more effectively. So it actually acts like a three-dimensional image, and it's that simple. So some of the
Man,
methods to address
these look
what
creepy.
right, yeah, but I mean it works if they can read
Man,
the whole face.
who's making
Blink.
these AI robots? As in,
Well,
like,
that's the thing. The way
can
that
it identify plastic?
well, so that's the thing. So that's interesting. So some of the things you can do to redesign these AIs is because these have been known weaknesses for a while, right? They're just being exploited, and we have to go through the process of fixing them. And you can either update the underlying like AI model, so rewrite the algorithms, or you can go ahead and try to train models by giving them as many examples of fake instances and fraud as you can. The only problem is when you get to individual people, right? It's not going to work for each individual person. Like to train a model for you to do that, you'd have to be putting on tons of disguises and tons of alterations. So your model was trained specifically for you to know, like I know what Josh's face looks like. Like you can't fool me. Like I know exactly what it looks like. And one company though, that company ID.me, they have gotten down and by the end of February, they had gotten down the number of fraudulent claims that slipped through down to single digits, which is down from over 1 million when they
Wow.
started doing this operation. And some of the methods that they have used to do this is they've labeled fraudulent images and so they've labeled them so that their apps can better identify them and similar images. And they also track phone numbers and IP addresses of repeat offenders so they can watch them across multiple accounts and identify where the source is coming from. And they've even written some part of their algorithm to, as you said, to deal with like different textures because they assess how the light bounces off of
Um,
skin and off of different materials so they can try to detect more factors in the environment around you. right? Not
Nice.
just how the face specifically looks. So it's very interesting. Facial recognition does have, I think, a long way to go. It does have many, many uses, but definitely, I thought it was just a really interesting topic and a really interesting conversation.
Yo,
Thanks
it's
for
wild
sharing.
how far people will go just to get money.
Oh yeah, I mean it's free. Because think about it, how much work does that take, and how much risk is that relative to the reward, right? It's very little,
I
right?
mean,
Very little,
if you do
little work.
one, might as well do multiple. I mean, how many people can you have live in a single address? Who knows?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why the systems get more and more advanced, but you have less and less people actually able to do it because they're not getting, they're not, as clever or good enough to beat out these more advanced systems. But it's not even just for like the government specifically. Like for your phone, if someone took a picture of your face and really wanted to get in there, and you had facial recognition, depending on what was used, because for Apple they use 30,000 points to do a depth map, right? And they have special cameras that are able to project this so that they have their own custom proprietary facial ID software, whereas opposed to many companies and stuff that just use your local camera, which doesn't have depth perception, doesn't have those points, and uses third-party software. So for like personal devices, things like that aren't like at huge levels, very very advanced, that would be the most susceptible. So someone got your phone, got a picture of your face, you use facial recognition, cut your eye holes out, look through it, all of a sudden, boom, boom. I got access to all of Josh's Decentraland.
Right? Or just hire someone who's amazing at doing makeup. There you go. Or
That's an advertisement for Jeremy.
Jeremy will
or
do your face
just
up to
do,
fool any system.
or you could just be like Arya from Game of Thrones and just put someone's face on. And there you go, facial recognition.
If you carve off another human being's face and lay it on top of yours, I guarantee it's gonna work.
I feel like that's
Wow.
illegal.
So if you really if you
Wow.
really want that paycheck, bro, you gotta get slicing. Just you know what I mean? Get and you want to get deep enough so you get enough skin so the light
and
doesn't
that's
pass
why
through.
there are easier ways or better ways, such as hacking. So that's
Right, that's why people
fine.
use code, because they don't want to go around like murdering. What are all these dead people
You
without
know,
faces?
I feel
Oh.
sorry about bringing up Arya now.
Yeah, Ari would have done a great job though in the age of facial recognition. Would have done wonders.
Mhm.
For the rest of us, we have code.